The dead don't always rest. Sometimes their whispers can be heard in the dead of night, beckoning the curious and the foolhardy. From abandoned hospitals to ancient battlefields, the deathly energy of the past lingers. Whispers echo in empty hallways, ghostly apparitions flicker in the corner of our eyes, and disembodied voices utter eerie cries for salvation. Are you ready to be disturbed, to confront the unexplained, and leave your preconceived notions at the door? I'm Mike with List 25, and here are the most haunted places you wouldn't dare visit. 25. Hoia-Baciu-Forest. Have you ever walked in a forest and felt like the trees were watching you? In Transylvania's Hoia-Baciu-Forest, visitors often report feeling uneasy, as if they're being watched by unseen eyes. Some people report hearing disembodied voices, while others feel nauseated or dizzy for no apparent reason. And there's no shortage of mysterious tales of people getting lost, never to be found. In 1968, a photographer captured a pulsating disc hovering above a clearing, inexplicably devoid of life. Was it a UFO, a portal to another dimension, or a chilling testament to the forest's unsettling power? Whatever it was, no plant life dares to grow in the clearing today. Hoia-Baciu beckons the curious, but only the brave enter. 24. Waverly-Hills-Sanatorium. Waverly Hills started as a simple schoolhouse and ended up as a sprawling sanatorium, swallowing over 60,000 souls within its decaying walls during a brutal tuberculosis epidemic. Overcrowding, mistreatment, and the stench of death permeated every corner. The infamous body chute is a grim reminder of the facility's somber purpose. However, the true horror transcends the hallways, ceilings, and walls. Visitors report terrifying encounters, disembodied voices, shadow figures flitting in the periphery, and an overwhelming sense of despair that clings to the air to this day. 23. Borgvattnet-Vicarage. Borgvattnet-Vicarage, built in 1876, was a peaceful haven for the area's holy men, until one day, it wasn't. It seemingly started with the resident vicar's washing being ripped from his hands in the 1920s and only grew worse. To this day, objects move on their own, and rumors abound about the supposed ghosts of mistreated maids and infants buried in the cold earth beneath the vicarage. It's played host to at least one exorcism that we know of, but the eerie sounds and apparitions endure. Today, the vicarage remains open as a B&B for the curious and the brave. 22. Glamis-Castle. Steeped in both tragedy and secrecy, Glamis-Castle has earned its reputation as one of Scotland's most haunted locations. Its restless spirits include the infamous Grey Lady, rumored to be the ghost of Janet Douglas, wife of the 6th Lord Glamis, who was falsely accused of witchcraft and sentenced to a brutal death. Another terrifying legend associated with Glamis is the Monster of Glamis, a deformed son rumored to be hidden away in life. His ghost is said to wander the castle's parapets, forever trapped in the shadows. 21. Monte-Cristo-Homestead. Grand old home? Check. An old recluse said to be possessed? Check. Poltergeist activity? Double check. The history of the Monte-Cristo Homestead in New South Wales is as unsettling as it is tragic. The mansion belonged to the Crawleys, who lived a seemingly happy life until 1920. After Christopher died, his widow Elizabeth retreated from public life and became a recluse. Rumors about paranormal events in the house soon surfaced. From disembodied voices to objects being inexplicably moved, it came as no surprise that Elizabeth's isolation only deepened, fueling rumors of her own descent into madness, or possible possession. She died in 1933. Today, the Monte-Cristo Homestead is a museum and tourist attraction. 20. Changi-Beach. War doesn't care where it kills its victims. In fact, it often chooses places of great beauty, like the picturesque Changi-Beach. In 1942, during World War II and the Japanese occupation, thousands of innocent people were executed on the beach. Their blood turned the beach and surrounding waters red. To this day, weary travelers often hear unsettling sounds like cries and screams, and witness disturbing apparitions on the beach. It's not a place you want to remain too long after dark. 19. Hammershus-Castle. Hammershus-Castle was built in the 13th century, and for hundreds of years it stood as a reminder of Danish supremacy. Today, the dilapidated structure is haunted by the ghosts of its past, including its very own Grey Lady, who wanders the empty hallways. The air is filled with disembodied voices, and objects have been known to move without being touched. Visitors have also described an oppressive atmosphere that makes it extremely difficult to breathe. For many people, Hammershus is nothing more than a magnificent ruin. For those who know better, it's a place where the fine line between the living and the dead is incredibly thin. 18. The Island of the Dolls. The Island of the Dolls became the twisted haven of Don Julian Santana Barrera after the tragic drowning of a young girl. Grief-stricken, he began to hang dolls throughout the island, hoping to appease her restless spirit. Years passed, and his obsession grew. He scoured the canals, adding more and more dolls, their porcelain faces weathered and cracked, eyes vacant and unsettling. As his mental state deteriorated, the dolls became grotesque, their limbs twisted, features contorted in silent screams. Since Don Julian's death in 2001, visitors to the island have reported an oppressive atmosphere and the unsettling feeling of being watched by the decomposing dolls, their vacant eyes following your every move. 17. Lake Alice Hospital. I hate it when those placed in a position to care for the weak take advantage of said position. Lake Alice was a psychiatric facility in New Zealand's Manawatu-Whanganui region. Opened in 1950 to care for the mentally ill, allegations of patient abuse and unexplained deaths eventually led to its closure in 1999. In 2021, a police investigation was conducted, and former staff and patients were interviewed. Unfortunately, no formal charges were laid because of some of the accused's advanced age and health issues. Isn't that convenient? Since its closure, those who have dared to walk inside have emerged with terrifying stories of unexplained noises, feelings of being touched or pushed around, and even the awareness of unseen presences. Is it a reflection of the hospital's troubled past or simply the product of human imagination? I'm thinking it might be the former. 16. The Street with No Name. Nestled in Sydney's inner west, Maxwell Road, nicknamed the Street with No Name, is so much more than nameless. It's a favorite dumping site for dead bodies and is notorious for terrifying local legends and paranormal experiences. The locals firmly believe that the surrounding park brings out bizarre behavior in very young children and animals, and several paranormal investigators who have been to the area have reported feelings of fear and dread. Since so many unsolved murders seem to take place here, it's no surprise that odd happenings, strange sightings, noises, and sudden temperature changes have all been reported by late-night visitors. 15. Studley-Park-House. Located in Camden, New South Wales, Studley-Park-House has earned a reputation in local folklore as a site of paranormal activity and hauntings. One tragic event often linked to the house involves the death of two young boys, Ray Blackstone and William Gregory, who drowned in the nearby canal in 1909. Even though the property today belongs to the Camden Golf Club, it's said that you can often hear the sounds of children laughing in the empty corridors late at night. 14. Darlinghurst Jail. I don't know about you, but being starved to death before being hanged sounds like the perfect recipe for a paranormal afterlife. Built in 1821, Darlinghurst Jail was Sydney's primary prison for more than 180 years before its closure in 1914. 76 people, men, women, and even a character by the name of the Demon Dentist, were executed at Darlinghurst after being sentenced to death by hanging. These executions all took place inside the jail's grounds, which was publicly accessible until 1908. Today, the jail, now serving as the National Art School, offers guided tours, and it's been confirmed to be one of the most haunted places in Australia by ghost hunters, students, and visitors alike. 13. The-Flask. If some establishments' walls could talk, we would never be bored again. The-Flask, a popular pub in London's Highgate neighborhood, has been serving Londoners for centuries, dating back to 1663. In recent years, The-Flask has gained even more notoriety due to the paranormal activity that takes place inside. There have been sightings of a ghostly figure, sometimes described as a man dressed in 17th century attire, as well as a woman believed to be the ghost of a former barmaid who, according to legend, committed suicide in the pub's cellar. 12. Pluckley. The village of Pluckley, Kent, holds the title of the most haunted village in the Guinness World Records. That's no small feat. According to legend, over 12 very famous ghosts live here, including the Screaming Man, whose anguished cries echo through the woods, the Highwayman, still looking for revenge by Pinnock Bridge, the Lady in Red, who mourns forevermore in St. Nicholas's Church, and the Black Horseman's spectral carriage that can occasionally be glimpsed as it travels down Maltman's Hill. Are you creeped out yet? Well, you might find yourself full of goosebumps should you ever hear the words, "I will do it," close to Elvie Farm. In the late 18th century, the farmer Edward Brett had a heated argument with his wife. His final words were, "I will do it." Moments later, he took his own life by gunshot in the farm's dairy. Visitors to Elvie Farm claim to still hear those very words whispered repeatedly throughout the property, like a broken record playing on repeat. 11. Thorax-Hospital. The Thorax-Hospital in Terrassa, Spain closed its doors in the 1990s and has been abandoned ever since. And that's probably a good thing. Once specializing in respiratory illnesses, it gained a grim reputation for the highest suicide rate among all the medical facilities in the entire country. Now that says a lot. Patients, instead of dying slow, agonizing deaths due to illness, opted to throw themselves from the building's 9th floor into the aptly named jungle garden down below. Many believe these patients were possessed by former suicide victims and forced to jump, as the continued deaths just did not make sense. It's said that the restless spirits of those who died still roam the abandoned grounds to this day. 10. Cortijo-Jurado Málaga. The Cortijo-Jurado, or Casa Encantada, is a 19th century mansion with a haunting reputation. And when I say haunting, I mean it. Built by the Heredia family, the Calendar House, as it was nicknamed, has 365 windows, each symbolizing a day of the year. According to local legends, it also has several hidden basements and a network of tunnels that connects it to another mansion nearby. In addition to the retellings of ghostly young victims haunting its halls, it's steeped in tales of depravity, disappearances, and murder. The unexplained paranormal occurrences continue to draw ghost hunters and thrill seekers to this day. Today, the majestic Cortijo-Jurado stands neglected, and access to its ghostly passages is restricted. 9. The Queen Anne Hotel. The Queen Anne Hotel started its journey to the most haunted location in San Francisco as a bustling girls' boarding school in the late 19th century. A lot of its paranormal history seems to be traced back to the office of Mary Lake, the head mistress, and the salacious rumors of an affair with a local senator by the name of James Fair, which continued even after her death. The guests that have stayed in Mary's former office, now room 410, have reported waking up on the floor with sheets tucked in, hearing someone sing lullabies, being tucked back into bed, and even having their luggage unpacked. Is Mary still taking care of the hotel's inhabitants? What do you think? 8. The-Mystery-of-Ochate Burgos. Why do people step into abandoned villages? Doesn't anyone watch horror movies anymore? It is a bad idea, people. The 9th century abandoned village of Ochate in Castilla y León is not for the weak. According to local histories, the curse of Ochate made the villagers sick, and there were too many unexplained fires in the community. As such, it was abandoned in the 20th century. Now, if you're one of those people who clearly haven't seen the movie or played the game Silent Hill and want to enter Ochate's abandoned houses, expect to see doors open and close on their own, hear strange noises, and see fleeting shadows. Visitors also frequently feel an unsettling presence, as if unseen eyes are watching them. The feeling dissipates once they leave. 7. Oiran-Buchi, The Wailing-Women. Have you ever seen The Ring? How about The Grudge? Is there anything scarier than wet ghosts with dark matted hair? The origin of the ghostly wails that can be heard near the Oiran-Buchi bridge can be traced back to the 16th century when the Takeda clan controlled the area. They exploited the gold mines while running brothels to cater to the miners. Following their defeat at the Battle of Nakashino, the Takeda clan decided to flee. However, before leaving, they lured all the women onto the Oiran-Buchi bridge and severed the bridge's ropes, sending them plummeting to their deaths in the canyon below. According to legend, you can still hear the anguished cries and wails of these women echoing through the canyon today. 6. Camp-Hansen, The Lone Soldier. There's one very persistent ghost story that continues to center around Gate 3 at Camp-Hansen, a U.S. military facility in Okinawa, Japan. A lot of the eyewitness accounts tell of a lone soldier in World War II clothing who was covered in bloody clothes and in dire need of a lighter for his cigarette. According to legend, the ghost disappears once someone lights his cigarette. The gate was eventually permanently closed due to the ghost's continued presence. Is the legend true? I can't really say. Access to Camp-Hansen is currently restricted, which makes further investigation and verification of these claims difficult, if not impossible. 5. Round-Schoolhouse. Hokkaido's circular Round-Schoolhouse was built in 1959 for the children of the area's local coal miners. It was abandoned in 1974 and left to rot, with most of its furniture still inside. In 1974, during a period of local disappearances, a young girl vanished from the schoolhouse grounds, and she would not be the last. According to legends, many of those who step inside the building never return, and those who do return are not only traumatized, but completely deranged. The people who have braved the woods in order to reach the old ruin have reported terrifying screams echoing through the night and shadowy figures bursting out of the shadows to attack them. As such, mediums in Japan refuse to go near the site, and paranormal investigators believe it to be an interdimensional portal. The building is currently surrounded by a moat and is not accessible to the public due to safety concerns. 4. Bara-Hack. Founded in 1790 by Welsh settlers, Bara-Hack in Pomfret, Connecticut, used to be a thriving community with a mill, several homes, and even a small cemetery. However, after the deaths of its founders, the area was abandoned. Today, it's only known as the Village of Ghostly Voices, and the name is quite explanatory. Visitors have seen a ghostly child floating face down in a well, and sightings of a bearded man floating around the old cemetery are very common. Access to Bara-Hack is currently restricted. However, the unexplained phenomena continue to draw curious visitors and ghost hunters alike. 3. Silva-Nigra, or Black Forest. You might know this, but Germany's Black Forest was named by the Romans, who were spooked by its impenetrable darkness. It might be renowned for its charming cuckoo clocks, serene spas, and fairy tale castles today, but it is the site of numerous very dark legends. And if they're to be believed, the forest is home to werewolves with razor-sharp claws prowling under the cloak of night, cunning witches, and even the devil himself, who tempts unsuspecting souls with delectable forbidden knowledge. One particularly terrifying story tells of Der Grossmann, a towering, disfigured figure with multiple eyes and arms who likes to punish naughty children who venture too deep into the forest. Is it just fairy tales and rumors? Who knows? I'd like to think that there is always an atom of truth in every rumor, no matter how small it might be. 2. Berlin's Fraueninsel, Peacock-Island. Berlin's idyllic Fraueninsel, or Peacock Island, is renowned for its stunning gardens and diverse wildlife. There is, however, a haunting legend hidden beneath its peaceful facade that's been passed down from generation to generation. According to locals, Johann Kunkel, a 17th century alchemist, practiced black magic here. His magic saw him cursed in the afterlife. That's why today his spirit wanders the island as a spectral figure with flaming red eyes, particularly at the stroke of midnight. There's a lot that can be said about legends like these. Was the practice of alchemy, the field Kunkel actively pursued, misunderstood or misrepresented by some? Maybe. Possibly. What we do know is that Kunkel developed a method for creating ruby glass, a type of red glass still valued today, and that might have been enough to tip the scales against him. 1. Davelis-Cave. The history of Davelis-Cave in Greece can be traced back to the 5th century BCE. It has served as a quarry site for the Acropolis, and in time even became a place of worship for various groups and sects, not all of them above board, if you know what I mean. Yes, people's strange gods were worshipped here, and then some. However, reports of paranormal activity at the site really took off in the 20th century. The accounts included malfunctioning electronics, unnatural water flow, as in upstream when it should be going downstream, like that's normal, and even several disappearances. Today, the cave has developed a bit of a cult following, and is rumored to be the site of several satanic activities and rituals. Should you go and visit and see it for yourself? Maybe. How adventurous are you? So, what's the most haunted place you've ever been? Let me know in the comments below. Bonus points for footage, send it to me, Mike@list25.com. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out our social medias, including my personal ones, links in that description. And if you like today's list, you will love the one we did a while ago, Mind-Boggling Natural Phenomena You Won't Believe, where I discuss the mesmerizing glow of the Waitomo glowworm caves and look at some of nature's most perplexing and fascinating spectacles. From snow donuts, #snownuts, to synchronized fireflies. To go to that now, simply click on the link right here. It's a lot nicer than what we just did. The haunting ones are creepy. This one's nicer. Go to this one. It's a chaser of happiness. I don't remember if they're all happy though. Maybe.